Hey everybody, this is Bill Ebert. We have a new training session tonight. Let's see, what's today? Today is Saturday, November 25th. The news that I'm giving you is only good for today because the market's changing so fast that you've got to stay up with it. So the very first thing that I'm showing you is my disclaimer. I'm going to start putting this on all of my videos. Not that anybody will. I mean, everybody realizes you're taking risk when you trade. It's the nature of life. You know, you're risking anytime you do any investments. You're risking holding on to American dollars. You know, if the dollar crashes, you lose everything. So, you know, everything takes risk. But I just want you guys to see that I'm not making any promises. You know, things can happen outside of our control. And you know, if it crashes and burns, I just don't want you to sue me. So, risk at your own risk. Understanding that it's really your thing. So here's what I want you to do. I have a brand new trading network that I am now going to officially recommend, Bittrex. I was using a company called Bittrex for all of my trading, but they have officially banned all American citizens. So if an American citizen told them they weren't American citizens, they're still letting them stay on their network. Their network is still working 100%. I know of at least one or two cases where the person is actually still actively trading, and Bittrex has asked most people, "Hey, I see that you have a U.S. address. Are you a U.S. citizen?" If the person says no, then they continue to let them trade anyway. They're not actually verifying the identity of people across the country. So I guess they're covering their butt by staying out of the crosshairs of the SEC and the American government. I'll leave it at that. So the one that is friendly to almost every single state is one called Bittrex. And I really like Bittrex. It's a little more of a learning curve, but I think if you just stay with the one or two coins that I'm going to teach you about trading, that Bittrex is going to be fine for you. You can also continue to use GDAX, but some of the coins that I'm now actively trading, because they're becoming more consistent and solid in the marketplace. It looks like they're here to stay, and they're taking the lead, is the Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold. They don't let you trade that on GDAX. So some of the trade recommendations that I'm going to be making for you, you can't do, which is okay. You can stay with Ethereum and stay with Bitcoin, buy, sell, and trade those. But if you want to move over into more advanced stuff, then you're going to need a tool that lets you do that. So Bittrex is good. The fees are not ridiculous. The reports, as you can see, are pretty clean and simple. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of how to get started on Bittrex, and then I'm going to give you a little bit more advanced philosophy on how to trade and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then we'll open up for some Q&A and help you guys answer any questions that you might have. So Bittrex is pretty simple. It's Bittrex.com. You just go in and sign up. It's actually a lot simpler to verify your identity than most sites that I've seen. It doesn't ask for a large amount of stuff. I think it wants you to upload your driver's license, and you're done. I mean, you're in. I'm already trading tens of thousands of dollars on this network, and they didn't do a whole lot of verification. Now, as far as putting money in, depositing cash, I still recommend that you use Coinbase, because wiring money to Bittrex looks like it's pretty difficult. So continue to use what I told you in the earlier videos. You can always see in video 1 or in video 2 how to set up a GDAX account and set up a Coinbase account to be able to take American dollars and move them over to Bitcoin. Once it's in Bitcoin, then you can move it over to Bittrex and start your trading. There is no easy way to move it back out into cash, but you can move in and out Ethereum, coins, all the different altcoins. You can actually export them into whatever program. And one of the things we're going to talk about this week is, okay, I'm starting to make some money. How do I cash out? How do you actually turn this stuff into money? Because some of you are going to want to do that. So we'll talk about that later this week. So here's Bittrex. It's a pretty simple formula. Once you move in, I'm going to show you some basics. First of all, you have up in the upper left-hand corner, you have Bitcoin markets. So this is what Bitcoin is trading against all the other coins. And so you can see that Bitcoin against Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin against Ethereum. That's a pretty common way that people are beginning to trade, is they're starting to trade their Bitcoin directly with other coins instead of moving back and forth to dollars. And then here's the American market. If you click on, let me use the U.S. dollar. So U.S. dollars versus Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is 1540 right now. Bitcoin is at pretty close to an all-time high now with $8,698. And then Ethereum is 450 on its way pretty steadily up to 500. It's probably going to hit 500 before middle of December. It's looking to hit the 500 mark. Bitcoin Cash is a little bit down, but I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. So here's how this works. You have your charts just like you do on all the other ones. You can set it for 1 day, 3 days, 1 minute. So I usually set it for the 1 hour chart, and I'm seeing that the trends, you can see the trends, and then your mouse works to scroll in and out. Just play around with your mouse to see how to do that. You can drag it back and forth to see your charts, and you can start watching the trends. We're going to talk a little bit about trends and how to trade in a minute. So you can swap back and forth by the different markets just by clicking on the code here at the top. So there's Bitcoin Gold, here's Ethereum. You just click on it, and let's go to Bitcoin Gold for a minute. You can see that it's down 7.7%. Let's let this load here. You can see that it's down to $364 from its high just yesterday of $394. This is actually a good coin to buy right now because it's down almost 10%. But that's how you see it. It's pretty easy to do. And then when you go down here, you have the left-hand side is for buying Bitcoin Gold, and here's one for selling Bitcoin Gold. Now, if you have Bitcoin, which I already have all of mine portioned out to buy something, I've already spent it all on something else, so I actually don't have any Bitcoin to sell. But you can just change, just like you did on all the other trainings. You can say, I want to buy maximum, which it's not going to let me do that because I don't have any Bitcoin in the market. You can actually type in how much Bitcoin you want to sell, at what price you want to sell it for, and then when it reaches that amount, it automatically goes and buys and sells. Now, for the step-by-step training, I probably save that for another day. The same way with selling. Most of you guys, if you've done it in GDAX or if you've done it in Bitfinex, then it's exactly the same here. It's just that you have a left side for buying and a right side for selling. That's really the only difference. The other one had tabs where you can click on a tab. But it's the same way. You can sell or buy using these features. Good until canceled. Just leave it that way. That's the most common choice. You're actually going to set it for a limit and you're going to leave it there. What's nice about this one of the things I like about buying coins here is right before you buy it, it gives you a really cool pop-up window, and it shows you how much you're going to buy, what your actual cost is, what they're going to charge you as an exchange, and they're going to confirm it for you. It just feels better to see that happen, making sure you're buying instead of selling, making sure you're buying it for the right amount, and then you hit submit, and then it'll show up in your orders. So in the upper right-hand corner, you see orders, and you can see that I currently have one order to buy Bitcoin when Bitcoin Cash gets to a certain dollar amount. So I'm actually going to buy, I am currently holding 10.4 Bitcoin Cash. And you can see that it's going to purchase, when it actually gets to the dollar amount, it's going to purchase 2.1 or 2.2 Bitcoin with that dollar amount. So I have my order setting here. If I ever want to change the order, what's unique about this one over Bitfinex let you change it on the fly. You could actually drag it up and down and it would change the dollar amount, or you could go in and edit the field. This one doesn't seem to have an edit feature. You actually have to delete the order and then start a new one. And maybe in the future they'll add that feature. I would rather edit my order than delete it in most cases, because a lot of times we're following the high, and we'll talk about that later in the trading strategy, chasing the high. All you hippies know what that's like. So let me show you next piece. Okay, so there's your Bitcoin markets, and here's your dollar markets. Now let's talk a little bit about what current strategies are right now. If I were holding Bitcoin, I would take, let me show you where our markets look like. I'm going to go over here to the dollar market, and you can see that Bitcoin is now up 6.6%. That's a really nice bounce. It usually doesn't do that much in a 24-hour period. So it's actually a pretty strong bounce. So you're at a high. What you would do at 87.43 is the safest way, and I'm going to tell you the three different scenarios. The safest way is to buy and hold. You're just going to hold on to your Bitcoin. You're just going to let it ride. There's almost no risk to losing anything. You're just not taking advantage of some of the bounces. So the number one safest way with Bitcoin, because we know it's going to hit the $10,000 mark in January, is just to hold on to it and not do anything at all. If you want to start making those 5 and extra 10% bounces every month, then the second safest way is to trade it for cash, because we know the dollar is probably not going to go anywhere this month. You can trade it against the dollar, and so you would take 87.43. I've been recommending the moment it hits $8,900 to go ahead and sell 50% of your Bitcoin, or 100% if you don't have a lot. Sell it at $8,900. The moment it hits 8,900 or 9,000, it's going to take a natural bounce. In almost every single case, when it's hit that $1,000 mark, when it hit the $1,000 mark, it bounced all the way down to $700-800. When it hit the $2,000 mark, it bounced all the way down to $1,200-1,300. It took a huge dive right after it hit that psychological space of those 3 zeros. And only in one case it did not do that, and that was just recently at the $8,000 mark. At the $8,000 mark, it didn't dive. It just kept going. It just kept moving up. So we now know that typically when it hits $8,900 to $9,000, everybody's waiting for that point to sell. So if it hits $9,000, you go ahead and sell your Bitcoin, wait for it to drop 6 or 7%, go ahead and buy your Bitcoin back. Now you've gained an extra 6 or 7% in Bitcoin just for taking advantage of a psychological bounce. You know that it's going to happen. The other way to do it is to do what I'm doing right now, and it's the more risky way, but it also has the greatest advantage, or to make more money. So in this scenario, we're going to go to let me go to Bitcoin, BTC. I'm going to show you what BTC. One of the things that has happened as the dollar amount continues to get greater with Bitcoin is the bounces become percentage less. There's a less and less percentage of a bounce. So when it was at $1,000 and we lost $100 on the bounce, that was a 10% gain. You can gain 10% with just a $100 bounce. Now that we're up to close to $9,000, it has to drop $900 for you to get the same 10% bounce. Bitcoin has not been doing that for quite a while now. So let me look. Let me actually go back to 1 day. We'll look at the chart with a. All right, you can see that at the high, when it was $4,500, it would drop down to $3,100. That was the last time we saw a significant high-low that was more than 10%. In a lot of cases, it's only bouncing. It's only going down like 5%, or in some cases only 2 or 3%. And so because it's growing so fast, you're actually being able to gain just as much money by buying and holding than you would by waiting for a 10% bounce. So the bounces are happening less frequently. It's now happening at the big dollar amounts like $9,000, or if there's some really big news. So it's a little harder to make those same 10% gains that we were making just a couple months ago. So we are getting a little tricky and complicated, but it's going to get easier. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So let's go to the markets. I'm going to go over here to Bitcoin Cash. I'm going to show you this as an example. Now, when you're trading Bitcoin against one of the other altcoins, we have those 10, 15, 20% bounces now, because as the altcoins are going down and Bitcoin's going up, you're not trading against the stability of the dollar. You're trading against the instability of an altcoin. In other words, because they're not tracking with each other, when one of them starts to go up and the other one starts to go down, we now have a beautiful spread that we were using just two months ago to be able to get those same gains. So we see right now, what I did was I took almost half of all of my Bitcoin and I traded it over here for Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is now at 1530, and we see that in, let me go to every 1 day. We see, I'll go to the 1 hour. Let's do this one. We see that just not too long ago, it was $1,600, and now it's $1,538. That's $100. That's $100. And if we go back just the day yesterday or the day before, its high was $1,723. And because of the trending, if you can look at the trend in an overall last couple months, we see that the lows continue to get higher. See this is called a natural low. It hits a natural low, and then the next natural low is actually higher than the last one, and the next low is higher than the last one, and then it stays pretty consistent. So what we're seeing is a very solid trend toward an upgrowth with Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is going to reach its 1753 again, probably within the next couple days. So we're at $1,530 right now. It's going to go up to 1755, which is $110, $120 bounce. That's almost a 10% gain. Now, if I'm trading it against Bitcoin and Bitcoin's at a high and I'm buying Bitcoin Cash at a low, when they start to move in the opposite direction again, because Bitcoin's going to come down a little bit, Bitcoin Cash is going to go back up again, we're actually going to see a greater than 10% bounce within the next 24 hours. So that's why this is a really strong strategy. Now, it is riskier. Here's the risk that you play. The risk that you play in trading your Bitcoin against an altcoin is if for whatever reason the altcoin doesn't continue to maintain its stronghold in the market and it starts to dive like a lot of them have. Here's the thing. We had 200 coins on my list, and a lot of them have gone down to almost nothing. It's because a lot of these Bitcoin splits, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of these other coins have actually started to take really good root into the marketplace. People are starting to trade with them because they see some consistency, and they've let the other ones fall by the wayside. So watching the trends, you want to make sure that you're following somebody that's watching it really closely. Watch the news. I get probably 10, 15, 20 news reports every single day that I read to stay up with, the warnings of in case something's getting weird or squiffy with the altcoins. So you can eliminate some of that risk by just trading a percentage, so you're not trading 100% of everything you're doing, and by only trading the ones that are super secure. If you're showing a week or 2 weeks or a month of consistent pattern, and it's doing the same thing that Bitcoin used to do in the past, then you got a pretty secure note. Now, what happens if it crashes? What happens if I'm over here at Bitcoin Cash and I'm at $1,500 and it goes down to 1,000 or it goes down to $500, which has happened. I actually did buy a bunch of Bitcoin Gold, I think it was, and I bought it at a pretty high rate thinking it was going to go up, and it went down. What's nice about these coins is the flux. If you'll just hold and just wait, we like to see our returns in 24 hours, but if you'll just wait a week or even 2 weeks, these solid coins are coming back. So it's just like with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin takes a big dive today, let's say, for instance, I wake up tomorrow morning and Bitcoin, for whatever reason, goes down to $5,500. Japan says we don't like Bitcoin. Russia says I don't like Bitcoin. China says absolutely we don't like Bitcoin, and it takes a little bit dive. We know that the market's it's fickle. It's going to be a temporary thing, and it'll be coming back. So hold on to it for the long term. Make these trades to continue to get your Bitcoin amount up as much as you can, and don't worry about the low bounces. We're buying and selling toward the highs. So that's the strategies. You're looking for a 10 or 20% bounce. If you're not finding those, then just wait. Don't try to get $100 here and there. It's just not worth it. You're taking more risk by the potential loss that you got by not holding on than anything that you would have gained by just waiting for the right environment. So that's actually a good point. Last week, when we thought the split was going to happen, Bitcoin started to do some really weird stuff. Completely unpredictable, started going in all different directions. It was doing exactly opposite what a lot of people were saying. So I did absolutely nothing. I just held on to it. And it wasn't until yesterday or day before that I started feeling comfortable that Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin Gold and Ethereum are now back to being a regular pattern. And I was able to comfortably hold on for a whole week. And that's what you need to do. There are times when it's going to be a week or 2 weeks. You don't have to be trading every day to make this 10% a month. You don't have to do it. 10% a week. You can do just 1 or 2 trades a week to be able to maintain that kind of growth. And if we just wait and we're patient and we don't trade emotionally, that's the hard part for a lot of people. You start seeing things go in the opposite direction that you expected. Just don't trade emotionally. Just make a plan, stick with it. If you need somebody to talk you off the cliff, give me a call. I'll help you stay safe. So I think that's it. I covered the Bitfinex thing. I covered my investment disclaimer. Go ahead and get off of Bitfinex because it's just not safe as an American citizen, since they've already said that they're going to cancel all the accounts now that Bittrex is tested and seems to be working. Last thing, another strategy. We're working in an industry that's fairly secure. A lot of banks are actually so happy with the security of the blockchain is that they are starting to think about moving this technology into the banking system. It's pretty secure, but at the same time, it's ones and zeros. It's a digital currency, and some of these exchanges have been hacked. There's one that just got recently hacked. It's one of the sister companies of Bittrex, got hacked last week, and $24 million worth of coins were exchanged out of their account. So when you're taking your money off of something other than a secure wallet, like if you're in blockchain, you're pretty safe. It's pretty rare that the blockchain itself would ever be hacked. So when you're in a system and you're trading like Bitfinex or Bittrex or GDAX, they are subject to hackers, because someone could go in and pretend that they're you and trade the money in and out and move it out of your account. So we got a couple different scenarios, and you guys need to know that that's a potential. You know, any one of these companies, if the NSA can get hacked, anybody can get hacked. You know, that's just the nature of the world that we're in. So, you know, if your credit card gets hacked, the nice thing about it is most banks are pretty good about giving you your money back. If it's on one of these exchanges and they can't afford to give you your money back, then it's 100% loss. So you can do one of two things. You can either split like what I've done. I've got about 30% in 3 different exchanges. I keep the majority of my money on blockchain.info, which can't be hacked. It's a secure wallet that I own on my personal computer. So I keep the majority of my money that I'm not trading and just holding. I keep it on blockchain.info. And then I keep 10, 20, 30% over in GDAX, and I keep the rest of it over in the new exchange called Bitfinex. Now, you've got 2 different thinkings on why you would do that. One is, okay, if one of them gets hacked and I lose everything, I've only lost 20, 30%. The other scenario is, okay, now I'm spreading my risk. I'm more likely to get hacked if I have 10 accounts. One of my 10 will be more likely hacked than if I only had 1, right? Then get two different mathematical scenarios. So you're actually increasing your risk with a smaller amount of money when you spread your money out, or you're decreasing your risk if you only put it in one exchange and the likelihood of that one being the one that gets hacked. But I'd rather have the lose 25% scenario, because I know how to get that back. If I lose 100%, I'm not too sure how to get that back as quick. So that's the one that I chose. You guys choose the one that's most comfortable for you. All right, so that's the updates for today. We have a brand new reporting for those of you who are trading with me, the side-by-side trading and the I'm trading for you, you know, as the partnership accounts. We have a brand new reporting feature that we have completed as of yesterday. I'm going to give you guys usernames and passwords so you can see your account, and then I'll give you the ability to add money, take money out, look at your reports every single day and see the strategies. And we're also going to have video archives of some of the trading platform, so you guys can start sharing that with your friends or watching it if you need to see it a second time. So I'm going to open up for Q&A, see if you guys have any questions for me. If there's anything you need, now's the time. I'm going to stop the recording.